the thing is what I've learned is two things just in storage is like if you get really good at one skill, just like anything in business, like
Hmm.
finding deals, the biggest part, the hardest part sometimes is actually finding the good storage deal.
What's up, and welcome back to the Scale Your Sales podcast. I am your host and your soon to be podcast BFF, Jillian Murphy. If you are absolutely exhausted of hearing the same podcast that only leaves you feeling motivated and just a bunch of fluff, well, you have absolutely landed on the right podcast today. In this episode, we are going to talk about the most important skill you need to generate your business, and that is sales. We are going to dive into topics such as messaging, marketing, how to build lead generation organically, and we are going to talk about how to create consistent cash months inside of your business. And we are also going to talk about how to build a company that isn't just about making money, but is also bringing in actual wealth while getting back to what I know is your most important thing, time freedom. Now, I am here for real talk, real advice, straightforward tip, and no BS. You can always walk away and implement everything that we talk about in our show and move it into your business immediately. But I have to tell you, I am not your typical business mentor. We are going to talk about things that nobody else is probably talking about on the internet. We are going to talk about what it takes to build a real company and not just about how to manifest your business or how you can make $1 million tomorrow. But if that's what you're looking for, this podcast is absolutely not for you. We are going to talk about the real skills to build a real business. Now, I have spent over 25 years in the corporate sales space, generating over $100 million in sales through multiple industries in the online and the brick and mortar space. I have been able to help over 500 entrepreneurs not only grow their sales, but scale their businesses. Several times per week, I'm going to bring you solo episodes, guest episodes, and even hot seat coaching so that you are able to scale your sales. Now, grab a pen and paper, your beverage of choice, and let's freaking go. What's up, babes? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so pumped today. It's going to be such a great episode. I have my friend, my client, my peer, my colleague, Bree, on the show today. Bree, tell my audience who you are and what you do.
Yes, no, I'm so excited to be here, Julianne. So my name is Bree Hartman, and so I'm actually located in Sacramento, California. And so I actually buy self-storage facilities throughout the US. And then I'm also founder of the self-storage school.
Amazing. So I think so many people probably have this question like, what is a self storage unit, right? Like, I know when I first met you, I was calling them like storage sheds, storage units. Like, let's just talk about first, like, what actually is the thing in which you do.
Yes, no, I love it. I know. So Jillian's like, she buys storage units all throughout the US. And
Yeah.
so I love saying like storage facilities because so we actually buy the whole real estate. So it's real estate and a business. So it's the full facility. So we kind of talk about it in like net rentable square feet, or it can be like one of the facilities that I own is 400 units. And then we also have an office on site as well as RV and boat and also a cell tower. So there's like multiple different revenue streams that you can actually have on like one property alone.
Hmm.
And so buying multiple of those has been able to, I think just having a business that's remote that you can actually own real estate as well as a business and you can work from home. Everything's like automated with QR codes, systems, and we have a 1099 that's just on there about 10 to 15 hours like a week, and that's it. No employees. I say no toilets, no tenants, no employees, and then less problems.
I love that. So I would like to start with like a good backstory. Like, how did you get into this and how did you get to where you are today?
Yes, no, I love it. So, okay, I owned a gym. I owned a gym for 5 years, and I think just owning that gym really teaches you. You go through COVID, you make the apps, you do all the things, but I had a lot of hard time. I think just being the first time business owner, you do everything
Hmm.
yourself, and then also hiring people, right, and keeping people um, all dialed in and constantly like growing. And so I hit this point where I wanted to have a kiddo.
Hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I can't keep working this. I think it was like more of a rat race that I created. And so, can you hear me,
Yeah,
Jillian? So sorry. I was like, my internet.
that's okay. We got you.
Perfect. Okay. So, but I was having this like rat race and I was like, I was pregnant. I was like 10 weeks pregnant. And I was like, am I going to be doing this business for, the rest of my life? And I kind of like dug myself a hole. Like people talk
Mhm.
about, they start a business, they do it the wrong way and dig themselves their own hole. And so I had, when you're pregnant, you're kind of crazy. I woke up at like 1 a.m. and I was listening to a podcast the day prior and I was like, someone said self-storage. And that really took like a light bulb. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to buy a self-storage facility. And that was my kind of like my one thing that I wanted to do was like, okay, I'm going to learn about this asset class. I'm going to study it and then I'm going to go out there and try to find one and buy one
Mhm.
and try to start this whole new business and really make a pivot.
Mhm. Do you think that people, I mean, I know when I'm listening to this right now, I'm like, okay, you need to have capital, you need to raise a bunch of money, you need to have like a real estate background. Like, where did all that come from?
Yeah, so I had I had one accidental rental, no real estate experience, no background really in business at all. I got a biology degree, BS in like
Hmm.
biology from UC Santa Barbara. And so I had one accidental rental. And so that was the big, I think there's also that light bulb moment where I was like, wow, okay, you can make passive income, which was around $500 a month. And then from that, I was like, how many more or like how many more houses would I have to own in order to hit my freedom number? So you kind of do this reverse
Hmm.
engineering. And when I saw that it was like 20 houses in
Hmm.
California, which they don't have very great tenant laws, I kind of was like, wow, okay, I'm going to be doing another, I'm going to be kind of like just jumping into another job.
Yeah.
And so that was something I learned the first time. And they always say like, fool me once, right? Fool me
Yeah.
second time, never again.
Yeah.
And so that was something where I was like, okay, so storage, facilities, how many can you buy and how can you actually create a life that you love? And so I reversed engineered what I really wanted out of a business, especially
Yeah.
while you're having a family and wanting time freedom. And people talk about time freedom, life options. And I think that was my really big why that
Hmm.
I was like, okay, I'm going to learn everything. I'm an abnormal learner. And then I'm
Hmm.
going to apply it like you, like take tons
Hmm.
of messy action
Hmm.
and mess it up a bit and then go find someone that has done it prior and keep asking them questions until you figure it out, right? So I
Yeah.
went to all the conferences. Like I bought, I think a $2,000 ticket one night at like 2 a.m. and went to Las Vegas and I listened to just all these experts about self-storage. And trust me, there's a niche for everything, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah. I
you
mean,
can
I didn't even know it was like a
absolutely
thing.
yeah, no, absolutely. This like conference came home and I'm like, this is going to change my life. Like if I stick to this and get really consistent, I'm going to be able to buy one. And so I purchased our first facility in Louisiana out of all the places.
Hmm. And
About
you were living in California.
yeah, living in California 6 weeks after giving birth. So I literally found partners to do this with me. I didn't even do the due diligence. I didn't even fly to Louisiana or I would have had a Louisiana baby. So
Yeah.
I laugh about that. My partners were like, stay, stay. And so I think all of this has taught me, right? It's safe to have partners. It's safe to pivot. I think it's safe to kind of like, go for your big dreams. Like we have one life.
Hmm.
And I think about this all the time. Like if I didn't make that pivot and I didn't trust myself, I could be doing like beating my head against the same problem over and over and over again.
Hmm.
So I just, I would tell anyone that's thinking about pivoting that you can do it. You to bet on yourself because going big, what else do you have to lose, right?
Hmm. From the time you decided you wanted to buy your first unit facility, went to that place in Vegas, bought your ticket to getting your first one, how long did that take you?
It took me about 10 months.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
underwriting deals, analyzing, and this is like I'm not I would say a math wizard,
Yeah,
but
me neither. It's terrible. I'm like, as you're
like
saying
it,
this, I'm like sweating right now.
I know it makes my eyes like I'm like, oh my goodness. But I think going about it and doing like underwriting, we analyze a deal a day. I call like analyze a deal a day keeps the doctor away. But
Okay.
analyzing a deal a day will actually like allow you to put offers in and buy your first facility.
Hmm.
So being an abnormal learner, like I showed up to webinars, podcasts, I read the books. I surrounded myself, right, by the people that are doing it every
Yeah, you
single
like submerge yourself in it.
yeah, you submerge yourself. And I was doing my gym business during the day, like training people 34 weeks, just waddling, like
Hmm.
waddling. And then I'd come home at night and I'd be studying this and underwriting deals and putting offers and getting back to brokers saying, hey, send me more information. I'm looking for this facility. I'd love to buy one. So really putting all of that together and then working it and then finally coming under contract and buying one with a small business association loan. And so this facility, 3.1 million, and
Your first one.
my first house I bought was 310,000. So think about adding one more zero,
Hmm.
onto this. And it's such a mindset shift where you are like, can I afford that? And that's the number one question people ask and
Yeah.
get
That
stuck
was
on.
my next question for you, actually.
Oh,
It's a perfect segue.
yeah, is like, I don't have enough money, so I'm not going to do it. And that keeps them in analysis paralysis. And so I think the thing is what I've learned is two things just in storage is like if you get really good at one skill, just like anything in business, like
Hmm.
finding deals, the biggest part, the hardest part sometimes is actually finding the good storage deal. And then
That was my question. Like, if
yeah.
there's all these people going to conferences and all these people that want storage facilities, there's not that many out there.
There's about 60 to 75,000 within the whole US. And so there's not as many, like, of course, like there's more homes to storage ratio, but there's actually a good amount out there. And then what's
Wow.
wonderful is Cody Sanchez, right? She's
Yeah.
brilliant. She's the businesswoman and she says buying boring businesses, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm actually going to Arizona literally in 3 days to go
Yeah.
meet and greet a store mom and pop owner who want to sell their facility because it's been in their family for 17 years. And all of this is going to be seller financing. So I don't have to go get a bank loan. They are going to be my bank. And so it's going to be $2 million property. We're only going to have to put on down 400,000, which is 20% of that. And so it's going to be a 10-year balloon. And so it's just a great property because it's going to cash flow like crazy. And the risk has been removed because a
Hmm.
bank isn't going to be hounding you, over every single little piece of paperwork. And so
Oh, that makes
my
sense.
whole point in this is that there's lots of businesses right now in the US that don't have websites that are underperforming that are still making tons of money and then people want to sell them because not because it's a bad business, it's because they want their lineage to move forward, right? And they'd rather make a profit off their exit.
Hmm.
So that there's just a lot of opportunity. And I love showing like my storage school students, like you can go on Google Maps and actually find these properties and
Hmm.
create lists and start calling the owners or driving up and having conversation. We call them driving for dollars to
Hmm.
just build a relationship. You just build a relationship with them and they get to know, like, and trust you. And your excitement actually allows them to be like, yeah, I'll lend to them. And because I trust them as well as, hey, I think they're going to be the best stewardess of this facility. And so that it's going to be passed on, right?
Yeah. So, how'd you like find this one in Arizona? Because you're
Yeah.
obviously in California.
Yeah, so this one in Arizona, I actually I have two cold callers. I have virtual assistants that help because I also love putting deals into the pipeline for my students to have more opportunities at looking at good deals. But so they cold call all day long, 8 hours a day, and so they called this owner and was like, hey. They're like, yeah, we're actually looking to sell. And so as soon as we get that warm lead, then I get on the phone and immediately start to like have a conversation and build that relationship and say,
Hmm.
hey, this is what I could actually offer you. You want to do this dance or do you want to dance, And so
Yeah.
that's kind of that start to it. And then you go out there and meet them and finalize those deals.
Yeah. How many do you have at this point?
Yeah, so we currently have three. We just sold one in South Carolina. And so that was really exciting. So this has been I would say, gosh, been in here for 3 years. So we buy one or two good facilities every single year.
Hmm.
I'm not out there buying, hundreds of them because I like good deals. And I would say like our one just from under 100 units, I mean, cash flows just net, not even gross, like $4,000 a month all the way up to our large one that can cash flow up to like ten to $12,000 per month. So
Hmm.
that's just pure cash flow, not even saying like the exit. So what's cool with a business and storage is that you got cash flow. You buy it for 500,000, and then we're gonna sell this one spring of 2025 for 1.1 million. So we'll make
Hmm.
$500,000 just on 3 years, plus we get $4,000 of net cash flow every single month. So we get the
Hmm.
best of both worlds
Hmm.
in this type of asset class.
What do you think people's biggest fear is around like wanting to get involved in this?
Yeah, so I think biggest fear is the money piece and then not knowing what you don't know, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, no one goes into storage, like no one's like, I want to buy a storage facility because it's sexy, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people miss out on some of these more boring businesses, but the thing about it is I love it because it's simple. Like keep it
Mhm.
simple, stupid.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm a mom, and she's turning 3. And
She's so
so
cute, by the way.
I'm like, oh, she's like my world. I call her like my storage baby because she changed my life. And so like my goal though is my big why is to be able to take her, have a teacher summer and go visit our storage facilities throughout the whole US.
Mhm.
I want to take her to all 50 states before she turns 18. That's like my
That's
big
so
goal.
cool.
It's like I just want to more. I love that because it's experiences that they'll always share.
Hmm.
But the whole point in this is that I think people don't understand is when you rent a storage unit, it's for 4 reasons. Because like, have you ever rented a unit, Jen?
Yeah.
Have you?
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
A couple?
No, just one. One time
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, so most time it's like 1 out of 8 people rent storage facilities or storage units for 4 reasons. It can be a death, divorce, disaster, decluttering, or say they're just moving in general. But there's a lot. It's mostly used. People use these products because they need to, right? So it needs
Mm-hmm.
to be easy. So you can automatically go online, go to the website, you purchase the unit, say a 10 by 10 for $100. And so as soon as they purchase it, they first get a lease. They sign the lease easy on their app, and then they upload their driver's license. And as soon as they upload the driver's license, they get a code, a gate code that's automatically texted and emailed, as well as a lock code. And so they don't even have to talk to anyone. They drive up, they put their gate code in, they go to their unit, they move their things in, they come back out, leave, put their lock on, drop our lock off. So everything's
Mm-hmm.
safe. And that's nice is there's no one that they had to actually greet, and there's no one that we have to pay to stay there at our facility all day long. And
Mm-hmm.
so it does us very well as a cash generating business because
Yeah.
we don't need to depend on other people, to always be there. We have systems that are automated,
Yeah.
which makes it really nice and simple and easy.
Yeah. I love that. So people are listening right now. They're super intrigued by this episode. They're like, I want to buy my first storage facility, right? Like all these things. Tell us how people can work with you and what you have going on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'm owner of the self-storage school. And so this is one thing everyone kept saying, Bree, will you teach me how to buy a facility? And it's
Yeah.
like, absolutely. And so we started this school and so I teach you guys actually how to buy your first cash flowing facility within 6 to 12 months, sometimes without very little of your own capital in it. And so how we teach it is through the 5-part self-storage method, which is like number one, how do you actually find good storage deals? Number two, how do you analyze a deal? Know that it's a good deal within 5 minutes. And then number three, how do you fund the property? And number four, how do you actually put offers in? And then number five, how do you operate it? So if you guys are looking to buy your first facility, I'd love to invite you guys to the self-storage school. You can, if you guys want, I have a great resource that talks about the 10 steps as well as an analyzer. And so if you text me the word storage, just to 916-579-7209. I'd love to send you that like free resource and then also have a great conversation just about where would you like to buy and just your storage, what would you like out of a storage facility?
Yeah, that's so great. You guys, make sure you guys go back, listen to the podcast again. Breach, say the number one more time.
Yep, it is 916-579-7209.
Amazing. You guys, we will also put that information in the show notes. Go over, check it out. Also follow her on Instagram. She gives so much knowledge over there. And Bree, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Scale Your Sales podcast. If today's episode has you fired up, would you do me a huge favor and leave a review over on Apple or Spotify podcast? Or, of course, you can always take a screenshot and share it on your social media. That is the way we grow this show and so that other people can absolutely learn how to grow their sales as well. I am on a mission to change the mindset of sales. I want people to freaking love sales because the reality is sales is the foundation of everything you do. It's how your business generates revenue consistently. So remember, keep showing up and being unapologetic about selling because once you fall in love with selling, the sky is absolutely the limit. Until next time, happy selling, and my DMs are always open. I can't wait to get to know you better.